If you're applying to college, there's a good chance that you've been lied to. Not on purpose, I mean teachers, counselors, and well-meaning parents have good intentions in mind, but the reality is top schools don't admit students based on what most people think. Every year, there are tens of thousands of students with perfect GPAs and insane extracurriculars who get rejected. I mean, even for valedictorians, 70% of them don't get into their dream school. Meanwhile, you have some students who don't check all the traditional boxes and end up at Ivy League schools like Harvard. So what's actually going on here? In this video, I'm going to be exposing the 5 biggest college admissions lies that you've likely been told. And these are the ones that are keeping students out of top schools without them even realizing it. And trust me, by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to play the admissions game the right way. My name is Jack Anderson, and I'm currently completing my master's at Harvard on a full ride scholarship. And before we dive into today's video, if you want free one-on-one college admissions support with myself, be sure to fill out my website form at the top of the description and make sure you're subscribed to the channel because I select one new student every single week to help them reach their dream schools for free. Okay, let's get started. Lie number 1, you need a perfect GPA to get into a top school. Let's start with undoubtedly the biggest misconception, which is that only students with a 4.0 GPA get into Ivy League schools. Yes, grades matter, but a perfect GPA is not required. Harvard, Stanford, and other elite schools reject thousands of straight A students every single year. Meanwhile, some students with lower GPAs get accepted because their applications are strategically stronger. You see, admissions officers will look beyond the numbers and focus on things like the difficulty of your coursework, the story your transcript tells, and how your academic profile aligns with your overall ambition and application. A student with a 3.7 GPA and high impact extracurriculars is often stronger than the student with a 4.0 GPA and nothing else to really show for it. So stop stressing about having perfect grades. Instead, focus on building a compelling profile that makes you unforgettable. Admissions lie number 2 is that you need to be well-rounded. Another huge myth is that top schools want students who are good at everything: sport, music, clubs, volunteering, and leadership, all at once. But here's the truth. Top schools don't want well-rounded students. They want a well-rounded class. And that means being exceptional at one thing is far better than being average in everything. I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the admissions officer. Would you rather see a student who is decent at 10 different activities but doesn't really stand out in any of them, or a student who is world-class at one thing and has built their entire personal identity around it? Admissions officers pick student number 2 every single time. And that's why national level athletes get in despite having average grades, students who build successful startups get in with okay test scores, and researchers doing competitive research placements get in over the straight A students. So instead of trying to do everything at once, just focus on being elite in one area. That's how you're gonna stand out. Lie number 3 is that your essay needs to be the most unique story ever. A lot of students think that their essay needs to be shocking, crazy, or completely unique and one of a kind. That's why most students think way too hard when they're writing their personal statements, trying to write about random, dramatic experiences that just sound completely unrealistic or completely different. But here's the truth. Your essay doesn't need to be unique, it needs to be personal. Admissions officers read tens of thousands of essays, and I can promise you that they've seen every topic before, from the struggled upbringing to the injury that changed everything to the biggest failure and comeback story. But they don't care about the topic itself, they care about how you tell the story. 2 students could write about the exact same event, but the student who makes it deeply personal, emotional, and reflective will stand out every single time. So instead of trying to force your uniqueness, focus on authenticity. So when you're designing your college essay, keep these key questions in your mind. Number 1, what does this story say about who I am and what I value? Number 2, how does this experience shape what I want to do in the future? And number 3, why is the admissions officers going to remember my essay specifically? If you can answer those questions and keep them in the back of your mind as you're designing your essay, I believe you'll be way ahead of most applicants. Lie number 4 is that more extracurriculars equals a better application. A lot of students believe that stacking their application with over 20 activities will impress the admissions officers. But here's the truth. Colleges don't care about how many activities you did, they care about the impact that you had. And I want to emphasize that word, impact. When marking applications, admissions officers rank applications from 1 to 6 in different categories, and a 1 in extracurriculars means you have a national or international level of achievement. And that's why the student who raises $100,000 through their non-for-profit is going to stand out so much more than the student who does 10 clubs. A student who wins the national science competition is going to stand out a lot more over the student who did science club for 4 years. It's these simple things, and if you can follow the grading criteria of trying to be at a national or international level for that given thing, you are going to stand out in the extracurricular category. So instead of wasting your time filling your Common App with fluff, focus on depth over breadth and ask yourself, what is the one extracurricular where I can make the most impact, and how can I take that extracurricular to the highest level possible? That is how you're going to build an application that stands out. And lie number 5, which might be one of the biggest ones, you need to have your whole life figured out before applying. A lot of students think that when they apply to college, they need to have their whole life planned out and be able to demonstrate that. Their major, their future career, and even the exact job they want after graduation. But here's the truth. Colleges aren't looking for students who have it all figured out. They're looking for students who are curious, adaptable, and excited to explore during college. In fact, many Ivy League students change their majors multiple times. So some go into college thinking they want to be doctors and they end up working in tech. Others start out in finance and they end up launching their own startups. Colleges know that 18-year-olds aren't supposed to have their lives mapped out. What they want to see is that you have a genuine intellectual curiosity, you can commit to something and follow through on it, and finally that you're open to growth and change. So if you've been stressing about having that perfect career plan that you want to present in your college essays, don't worry about it. Instead, just focus on showing that you're driven, passionate, and a thoughtful student who is ready to make the most out of their time in college. That's what actually matters. So as we close out this video, let's recap with the 5 biggest college admissions lies that are keeping students out. Number 1 is you don't need a perfect GPA. You need a strategic application. Number 2 is you don't need to be well-rounded. You need to stand out in one area. Number 3 is your essay doesn't need to be unique. Number 4 is more extracurriculars aren't going to help you out. And number 5 is you don't have to have your life figured out. The students who get into the top schools aren't the hardest workers. They're the smartest players. So stop following bad advice and start crafting an application that tells an unforgettable story. And as always, if you want free one-on-one college admission support, subscribe to the channel, fill out the website form, and I wish you all the best as you pursue your college dreams. Good luck.